What's up, Red Letter Disciples? It is good to be back with you. I'm Zach Zender, and in a couple minutes, I'm going to welcome my friend, Pastor Chris Johnson, onto the Red Letter podcast. We co-host this podcast, and it has a mission, believe it or not, in all the craziness, to challenge you to be a greater disciple of Jesus. We really believe that the world needs to see a truer, greater, and fuller expression of Jesus. And the world sees that as you and I step up into our callings and be the great disciples of Jesus. And so we hope that that's what comes through. Today's episode, I said last week on the very end of it, like, it's a pretty crazy episode. What happens when the love of barbecue meets the love of God? In 2020, Andre Steven Anderson had a wild idea. What if I can use barbecue to bring the gospel to the world? How would you even do that? But he launched in 2020, he launched BBQ Church. I love the name of that church. We're going to do a great conversation today about how God is using this church. And also, like, you know this is going to happen. Strong opinions are going to get thrown out there. Pellet smokers versus charcoal. I don't know where you stand in it. Let us know. That would be great. Hashtag Red Letter Disciple on social media. Let us know as we get into this. But Andre's going to challenge all of us. Whenever God speaks, obey. And when you obey, be ready for God to take you wherever he wants to take you. He can take you on some pretty wild, fun, and crazy places. But today's episode really made me think as well, like, what other hobbies, interests, sports, or activities can we be more intentional about making disciples and spreading the love of God? So can't wait for you to meet Andre. He's a unique dude and love what he's doing. But you're going to hear from him in just like a couple minutes. Today's episode is sponsored by Red Letter Living. We create resources to challenge you to be a greater disciple of Jesus wherever you are. This podcast is one of them. If you're a pastor or church leader out there, like, I know you want all of your people in your church to be greater disciples, but how? And not only this, we believe we've got the answer to that, and we can help you grow your small groups by more than 40% by doing a 40-day challenge with us at Red Letter Challenge. Our 40-day challenges, again, not only make greater disciples, but they grow your small groups by 40%. We just went over the 1,000 church mark in how many churches have led a 40-day challenge, and we have had 100% thumbs up recommendation from pastors in the past. Every single one has been excited to go through it, seeing great results, and we would love for you to be a part of that. And so as you plan for the start of next year, we want to partner with you, and we have some amazing deals with our ready-to-go church packs. So you can find out more about this, all of our 40-day challenges at redletterchallenge.com/join. And newsflash, I'm spilling some beans right now. Our best deals of the year are starting next Monday. Many call it Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, but we call it Red Friday. And those Red Friday deals, Black Friday deals, you know, the companies just start doing those for like 10 days now. So we did too. But it's Red Friday deals, and they're starting, if you're listening real time, Monday, November 20th. And you can find out more about those and the deals that are coming at redletterpodcast.com. But this is the perfect time to get in a church challenge for New Year or Lent of 2024 and start your year in a really awesome way, growing disciples of Jesus. So we're going to get to our episode in just a moment, but real quick, if you haven't yet, press pause and go and give us a 5-star rating and write a quick review if this podcast has been helpful in your journey to be a great disciple of Jesus. All right, let's do this. All right, we got a fun one. They're all fun, but this one's going to be a lot of fun today. I know it is. We got Andre Steven Anderson coming on to the Red Letter Disciple podcast. Andre's been a pastor for more than 20 years, but he has a love, Chris, that I know you love and I love as well.
Love it.
Smoking some barbecue.
Oh my goodness, I cannot wait for this one.
And so in 2022...
Did you know that's my love language?
I did, actually. Mm-hmm. He combined both of his passions, and he started, you're going to like the name of this church, Chris.
Yeah.
BBQ Church.
Genius. That is genius.
On their homepage, listen to this tagline: to experience the love of God through the love of barbecue.
I have my own church, but I'm transferring. I don't even care. I don't even know where it's at.
I quit my own church.
I quit. If you're listening to this right now, Resurrection Church, I'm sorry, I just quit.
You had a good run, 4 months.
It was 4 months.
So there you go. So Andre Anderson, welcome to the Red Letter Disciple. Awesome to have you, my man.
Awesome to be here, and awesome to have a new staff member.
Man, that's good. Hey, where are you out of? I need to know where I'm moving.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh man, it gets cold there. Darn it.
Well, listen,
Huh.
Where are you at right now?
I'm at Orlando, Florida. You want
Okay,
to move
listen.
down? You want to move down?
Okay, I used to live in Celebration.
Oh yeah. Disney.
So it's not. Hey, Mandy, these people want us to move to Orlando.
Come on, let's go.
She said okay.
All right.
There you go.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next time on the Red Letter Discussion.
All right, Andre, I want to know what came first for you, a love of food or a love of God?
Oh, come on. That's not a fair question.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
food.
Okay, well, here's the thing. So I was born and I needed to eat. So
I mean, come on.
So there's that. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw something at you.
Yeah.
You can edit this out if you need to. But I was conceived at youth camp.
Okay.
You don't hear that very often.
Right. So
Okay.
I was kind of destined for this life.
There you go.
On
Yeah.
holy ground so much.
I was on
holy ground.
Yeah, it was holy ground for real.
Man.
And here I am. My
There you
mom, literally, my mom had me when she was 14 years old.
Wow.
And here I am.
So tell me
living
about that. Your mom has you at 14 years, not the conceiving part, the 14-year-old. Tell me about what it's like to grow up in that space.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when your mom is 14 years older than you, your life is a tad bit different. You know, my mom is my friend.
Mhm.
Wow.
You know, we grew up together. My mom is still my friend. I haven't lived in Pittsburgh for 24 years, ever since I left. So this is my first time back. I've only been here since March.
Okay.
And, you know, being around my mom again, you know, my baby brother, you know, is 40 now. You know, we just grew up with her. Like, I call my mom Linda.
Mm.
Like, it's not really mom, it's Linda. Like, we just have this relationship, and it's a relationship of respect. I love my mom. I cherish my mom. She's great. But we grew up together, and
Wow.
she helped lead the way in my life. I mean, my mom is a praying woman who loves the Lord, who prayed that, you know, her two sons would grow up to be men of God who lived out their calling. And we both are men of God who live out our calling because our moms prayed and the Lord answers prayers.
So you said you were down in Celebration, and then what caused the move back to Pittsburgh?
See, you're going down a rabbit hole.
That's what I do.
You're going down a rabbit hole. So, I was in Pittsburgh. I had graduated Bible college. I went to Rockford Master's Commission. So I moved out of Pittsburgh. I was in Rockford for 3 years. Moved to Celebration, Florida, 3 years. Met my wife. Got married. Moved to Omaha, Nebraska.
That's
left
right.
Omaha.
Nice.
Yeah. So went to Omaha, was out there doing school assemblies, left there. Went to Chicago, Illinois, lived there. Went to the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania, left there. Went back to Rockford, left there. Went to Tampa, Florida, left there. Kansas City, Kansas, left there. Went back to Chicago, stayed there. Went down to Bixby, Oklahoma, left there. Went back to the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania, lived there. Went over to Northwest Indiana, lived there. And then...
So when did you stop running from the law?
Listen.
What?
Listen, don't put my business in the street like that. So here's the interesting part. When I was young in Bible college, I heard a story where it talked about how it was random that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were known by their pagan names, but Daniel was not.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it talked about how so quickly we can end up in a society and change something, but then take on the characteristics of a society so that we're not able to be used again. And so I told the Lord, wherever you take me to bring change, I will go.
Wow.
And so take me wherever you want. And so the Lord has strategically placed me to go into an environment, ignite change, and pull me out and take me somewhere else.
So when you just asked your wife if she wanted to go to Orlando, she's actually nervous that you might go to Orlando.
Oh, no. She's not nervous at all.
Okay.
It's not like a surprise to her. She wants to move to Florida. She doesn't care when it is.
Mm.
The Lord knows what she wants. My wife prays. So we'll end up back in Florida at some point. Believe that.
Wow.
That's
Awesome.
crazy. I love it, man. So in each of these spots then is ministry opportunities that you're coming in, doing a thing and starting something and moving on to the next. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And now,
Okay. So how do you have that faith to like entrepreneurial new venture? Because I think there's a lot of people that listen to this that get caught in the same old, and they maybe have an idea or they maybe want to do something but they don't. And so what is it in you? I heard that obviously there was something biblically that you were grounded in, this call to, I will not be in a culture long enough that it overtakes me. I'll keep moving and I'll keep so that I ignite that change. So but what can you say to those that may feel stuck or may have an idea that are scared to go? From your experience, it sounds like you just go and do it. So speak to that person.
Did God speak to you or did he not?
Yeah.
Did God speak or did he not? If God is calling you to do something, if he says, I need you to go do this, then you automatically have to assume that he's placed everything in your path to get you to be a success. And so you can't worry about the what if this, what if that. These are bad things that could happen. These are great things that could happen. Those aren't your concern. If the Lord speaks, you have to move. And we have to get out of our own way and go, okay, the Lord said go, I'm going to go. Dude, there's so many people that looked at me like in some of these last moves, like, why would you even go to that church? Like, why would you even go there?
Yeah.
But God called me. And the change that we saw was so immense. And we see what God did. We understand why God did it. It's not for me to understand on the front end. It's for me to be obedient and go to a place so that he can do the thing that he needs to do. So let us move forward in listening to the voice of God, spending time with God so that we understand his voice, and then moving forward in that and saying, wherever you take me, I'm going to go and I'm going to do my best.
So what kind of change did you see, Andre?
So, I went to a church in a certain area, and because I said a bunch of places I've been, so let's keep it anonymous.
So it could be one of 42 locations
in America.
It could be one of 42. So you never know.
Somewhere in the world. Yeah.
I was at a church, and we went there and we saw a church go through a massive change. People ended up leaving the church. There were accusations thrown that were all false. And I was there to make sure a lead pastor was still alive at the end of his stint.
Oh my goodness.
Like it was so bad that there was a possibility he could have ate a gun. It was that bad. But I'm the type of dude that if you're in a fight, I'm in a fight.
Yeah.
And I'm a 6'3" dude who isn't afraid to throw hands in real life. So he knew I had his back. He knew I had his family's back. And I was the youth pastor. We went from a church of 350 to a church of 100. But I was running a youth ministry of 60 to 70 students. That's the type of change we saw. And we saw God still changing young people's lives in the midst of craziness.
Yeah, I mean, that is insane. I mean, that's crazy stuff, man. In the midst of it, you come in and you're kind of a change maker, and you're also creating this barbecue as well. You're smoking this stuff.
Listen. I didn't know what was happening. It was 2020. World shuts down. In 2019, I was at a church, and the pastor was smoking on a pellet smoker.
Yeah.
And I'm tasting the food off it, and I grew up charcoal, so I'm like, man, the food is good, but I grew up on charcoal.
Amen.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I want to get a smoker. And my wife says, no, we're not getting one of these pellet smokers because that's trash.
Oh, wow.
And I said, well, let me let me look at some charcoal smokers. And then I found this, the Masterbuilt 560. Let me tell you about the goodness of the Lord.
Your life forever changed?
Let me tell you about the goodness of God, man.
Now, is that a stand-up one? Like, is it a box one, or is it a barrel one?
It looks like a regular, it looks like a standard propane smoker is what it looks like.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's charcoal and wood on the side, and it's gravity fed. So you light the bottom, shut the tops, turn the fan on. It'll stay at 200 for 8 hours.
Wow.
Listen.
Wow. Game changer.
And so it's charcoal smoke, and then if you throw wood in there, it's the wood smoke. The food I was putting out was astronomical. Now, at this point, I'm living in Indiana. The guy across the street from me, directly across the street, is a dude who loves the Lord and has his own barbecue business where he just caters and stuff like that. And I was smoking every day. Anything. Like really anything. I was smoking deep dish Chicago style pizzas.
I love it.
I'm smoking brisket.
Yeah.
And, I'm smoking all this stuff. The church I was at, we had a youth ministry. I ended up getting another smoker, the 1050, the big Masterbuilt.
Nice.
I was smoking pork butts every week for youth. Every week.
That's how you get them right there. That's how you get them.
Yeah. So I just start smoking, and then I made a Facebook group. Barbecue Facebook groups can be the most toxic places in the world.
Absolutely. I've noticed that. The second you post something and it's not perfect, you got 30 trolls coming on you and jumping on you.
And I was even in some text thread the other day where the guy was like, I'm doing pork butt. Do I do fat up, fat down? And this is a group of pastors, and we call ourselves pit masters of divinity. I don't know if you want to steal that for any degree you might want to give for barbecue church.
I think barbecue church is just fine.
but there was great hostility in that group and lots of opinions, and everybody's an expert. And
right. Everybody.
Yeah. So I started Barbecue Assembly of God.
I love it. It's so good. Oh man.
Nice.
That's good. That's good.
It started as a Facebook group.
Right.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I'm an Assembly of God pastor. I started Barbecue Assembly of God Facebook group, and we just start growing. And we're about to hit 1,000 people in the group right now.
Right. And
we just post what we cook, and we get advice, but everyone knows you don't come in this group talking mess.
Okay, good. That's the fundamental
of the ground rules.
Yeah, that's the fundamental problem that I've noticed with all this. And you'll get like a rookie coming in posting his first brisket, and people are like, "That's so dry. That stinks. That's awful."
Right? No, we do. And so what we do is everyone knows that you're supposed to be helpful.
Yeah,
we're supposed to show love.
Okay,
and it's like, hey man, what did you do? Yeah. What could you do better? And we ask, and we have that community. If people come in talking trash, I bounce them.
Nice. I don't know what happened. I cooked it at 500 for 7 hours. No, I know.
Yeah, no. We just help people.
That's awesome.
And so one day I sat there and I go, am I the lead pastor of Barbecue Church? Am I the lead pastor of Barbecue Assembly of God? And my homie said, yes. And
so they did this massive ordination where they take the grill, the tongs, and they
click,
they knight you.
Right. So all of a sudden I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to start Barbecue Church, and I'm going to just post videos on how to cook stuff. And he said, no, you're not. And I said, what am I going to do? He says, you're a pastor. You're going to lead people to Jesus. And I said, okay. So I launched May 29th, 2 years ago, which is
20 or 2021,
2022.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I launched Barbecue Church on my birthday, May 29th. And we just threw videos up. I just started preaching.
That domain was available?
Well, listen.
What happened? How do you get that? I can't believe. Okay, go ahead.
Somebody owns bbqchurch.com.
That's right. Okay.
But BARBECUE, they did not.
I
So
can't believe it.
I got JesusLovesBarbecue.com. I bought BarbecueAssembly.com. Like I was just,
you're going for it.
I was just messing around, and we just started to launch. I would do quick 7 to 11 minute sermons from wherever I am. I work all these other jobs. I'll be on the road. I work in traffic control and parking logistics. I'll be in the middle of a field parking cars at West Point Academy, and I'll just put my camera on and do a sermon real quick.
Yeah.
And we started reaching. So right now we're reaching 800 to 1,000 people online with the gospel.
It's awesome.
And that's real numbers. That's not Facebook numbers. That's not me. Y'all are pastors. Y'all know how you can be like, oh, we're reaching 50,000 people.
1,000 people this week.
Shut up. You ain't reaching those.
Well, with the interval of 3.4 times IP addresses times 1 minute views times, I know what you're talking about.
40,000 of those are ourselves watching our own video.
Exactly. Like, oh, let me see.
Yeah.
So we're reaching that many people, and it's been a journey.
All right, Andre, I right with you. I love the throwing the wood in, throwing the charcoal in. I love it. But let me ask you this. What is your go-to? What is Andre Anderson known for? Now, you can do it all, but what's your signature dish?
If we're saying dish.
Oh, no. I meant like main course. Like, is it ribs? Is it brisket? Is it the stray cat that flies down the street? What is it?
I mean, anything could get this smoke. Okay. Let's just say that. Anything could get this smoke. But ribs, competition style ribs are my jam.
Yeah.
Okay. So St. Louis or baby backs?
Baby back. I mean, I'll mess with some St. Louis because I can rock those too. Mm-hmm. But I prefer to rock a simple baby back. Mm-hmm. I'll do a competition style, and they're killer. I'm not a fan of fall off the bone.
Okay, fair.
Hence why I say competition style. I like them to have a little bit of pull, and then my side is automatically apple pie baked beans.
Oof,
apple pie baked.
Never heard of that. What is that?
Throw them together, huh?
Listen, I'm not going to say much.
Please watch this on YouTube. His reactions are priceless.
I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to say
give it away. Right now.
I'm just going to say that these baked beans will change your life.
Okay, Andre. When I make my baby backs, pull the silver skin off. First move. Some of my friends don't do it, and then they got that silver skin. Yeah, I know. He goes,
who wouldn't pull the silver skin?
I have a guy, he's got the most expensive smoker I've ever seen in the world, and he doesn't take the silver skin off. And I was at his house. I was like, you didn't take it off? Anyway, then I flip him over, and I use a mustard on it, and then a dry rub on it. 225, about 5 hours. If I have to, I try to get it up to like 195 to 205. And then if it stalls, I'll wrap it up in aluminum foil. Am I doing anything wrong? Tell me.
Are you doing anything wrong? No.
Okay.
Are you doing it the way I would? No.
Can you tell me how you would do it?
So I would do.
Tell me.
So again, hence competition style.
Okay.
So I'm gonna mustard it up.
Okay.
I'm going to season it. I almost exclusively use reload rub.
Reload.
Okay,
reload. Okay.
Yeah. So I almost exclusively.
Okay.
They are now, fun fact, they're a Christian business.
Very cool.
So they love the Lord, and they have some of the highest quality in their rub that I've ever tasted.
Okay. So we'll have to put that in the show notes so people see that. Reload.
Oh, reload. They're amazing. Joel and Stacy are great people. So I'll season them up.
Yep.
Most of the time, I use two
different seasonings. Okay. Do you mist it at any point with like apple vinegar, anything like that, or do you just let it go?
I do a little bit. It's half apple cider vinegar, half apple juice.
Okay.
I'll let it run. So I set my smoker to 250.
Oh, it's a little bit hotter. Okay. So what's that take you? About 4 hours?
That takes me 2.5.
Okay.
To 3.
Okay. So you're kind of going against the low and slow here.
Oh, yeah. Because I'm getting a great amount of smoke in my ribs.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a decent smoke ring, which doesn't matter, but still,
right.
I have a decent smoke ring on there. And it gives me that bite that I need, but it also gives me a juicier rib.
Interesting. Okay. Do you ever put barbecue sauce on it, or is that no? Okay, I don't either. I'm just wondering, like, and you never have to wrap it in butcher paper or aluminum foil. Okay.
I mean, I will wrap just for the sake of putting the butter on it.
Yeah. Oh.
Just putting the butter in the bones.
Yep.
And then I'll do a little bit of Cosmos. Cosmos with a K, they make a rib glaze. And so instead of using honey, I'll use that. And I'll just put that in that bone. And then I'll wrap it just so that butter can kind of permeate in there.
Wow.
And
how
get
much
some
time
of that
do you
extra.
have left on that when you do that?
I'm getting hungry, man.
Listen, at that point, I have about 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. Hence why I don't use brown sugar.
Because it caramelizes too fast?
Yeah, because it doesn't. It doesn't break down, and I don't want all that granulated sugar all over my ribs.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Gigantic beef ribs.
Okay, listen. If you have the time and the money,
I know they're so expensive, man.
Listen,
I know.
I'll do them. Right. But I don't want to pay for them.
I know, me too.
So that's what I was going to ask you. So we got the ribs. That's like your go-to. If money wasn't an option for you, what's going on that smoker?
Somebody comes to you, Andre, and they say, "Here's $5,000. Make whatever you want."
That's a lot.
Zach comes to you and says, "Here's $5,000. Make whatever you want." A meal for like 8 people.
All right, I'm trying to get my hands on some hippopotamus.
I know you gave him too much money there.
I'm trying. I
did say if money wasn't an option, though. So I guess
I want a hippopotamus so bad. Yeah, like fam, if you came to my house, if you were coming over and you're like, what are you cooking? Like, yo, I got some hippopotamus. I got some of that hippopotamus meat. You're gonna be like,
trying it.
Right.
Trying it.
You know, what did you eat at Andre's? Man, we had some hippopotamus.
Hey, Andre, you got any more of those hippo ribs?
Oh, this is good. All right.
Dude, do you imagine how big those would be? It's like Fred Flintstone.
All right. So this is combining two of your loves, right? Meat and Jesus. And so this is a podcast, Andre, about discipleship. So I want to know, what are some similarities of making some really good barbecue with making some really good disciples? I actually thought that was a pretty good question.
I mean, they both are low and slow.
Both are low and slow. It's you can't rush it.
Right.
You can't rush it. And the issue, one of the issues in barbecue is when you cook, a lot of that fat and all that extra stuff just kind of falls down. And that fat, if you turn the heat up too high, can start a fire and burn everything.
Done that.
So you have to run low and slow, and you have to let everything break down. And also you have to give a resting period. Like there's that time where the Lord wants us to kind of pull back from that heat, and he needs to break down all the things that we're connected to. You know, the connective tissue is what breaks down whenever you're in a resting period. So there's things that we as a people can be connected to that needs to be broken down. And we need that time to rest, to permeate, to sit in what God has for us. And so it has to be that low and slow mixed with that resting period and then back on. Because if you don't focus on that process and baby it, you know, and make sure that it's right, you can end up burning people out. And you can end up flaming people out to the point where they don't want to come back.
But isn't it kind of crazy though? Because like right now, it seems like the world is just a bunch of microwave answers, like a bunch of quick fixes, right? Yeah. And when it comes to real great barbecue like yours, or when it comes to real discipleship, it's more, the process and the journey. And neither one of those are quick in either of those situations, right?
Right. And we have to train people to feed themselves.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. We can't continue to just feed people. We have to train them to make food and feed themselves, and then feed the people around them. That's the discipleship process.
Yeah.
It's not so much that we need to go to church and be discipled by the pastor, or be discipled by the life group leader, and that's my only discipleship moment. You're going there to learn how to cook. You're going there to learn how to disciple, to learn how to go into all the world, because the Great Commission does not apply to just me, the pastor. The Great Commission applies to every person who follows Christ. So go and learn how to cook it up, how to do your thing, and who you're going to invite to your table, because there's some people that only eat vegan food.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, I know. I don't believe that's God.
Vegetarian or vegan listeners of this episode,
I mean, repent.
Isn't there a Bible verse that talks about people that eat meat have greater faith than vegetarian?
I mean, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you.
We can take a lot of things out of context, right?
Yeah.
I've been cooking some vegan food and some vegetarian food for some of these homies.
Yeah,
I have. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Right.
But I do it. I do it for them.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to know who's going to come to our table.
Yeah.
Who in our circle wants to eat at our table. The barbecue church motto is "You can eat with us." And that's our thing. You can come and eat with us.
Yeah.
Come sit down, come have a meal, and then learn how to cook for yourself, learn how to cook for your family, learn how to lead your family spiritually. The whole reason, I haven't said it, but we're launching in-person services in Pittsburgh next month.
Cool.
Like as of this recording, and the wild part is that I have a lot of friends that I went to Christian school with, that my brother went to school with, who don't go to church right now. They've been harmed in some way. Mm-hmm. We've seen some really messed up stuff in the church. They still love Jesus, but they don't want to be involved in church. And they're all coming out like from behind the curtain, like, oh, wait a second, we doing barbecue? Let's go do that. They want to be a part. So we need to have a discipleship process in our lives where we're constantly helping people, where we're constantly feeding people, where we're constantly bringing people in, and constantly living the Great Commission daily, so that, more and more people can come to the faith. More and more people can experience the love of God. More and more people can get healed from what's messing with their heart and messing with their body. So we just need to be about that life, because if we're not out here feeding people, biblically, spiritually, and literally, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's good. And I think earlier too, you mentioned in those forums sometimes, like you guys really try to be helpful. But I think, like, if we're talking biblical metaphors and analogies, like we want people to be cooking on their own. And so the last thing we ought to do is, if they show pictures of here's what it looks like, is to belittle them. That's not the right way to do it, and tell them we need to be encouraging and say, hey, yeah, like you said, walk me through what you did. How did it go? What could you do better? But in a more leading way of we're trying to get to a destination that maybe we'll never actually fully get to in this world, but we're on the way there at least. And so I think there's so
for
much
instance,
good in that.
If your good friend named Zach owns a Traeger and has never cooked over charcoal or wood in his entire life, we don't taunt him.
Right. We don't say like, "Ooh, you have an easy bake oven. You don't know how to smoke regardless." So have you ever tasted good food in your life? You never say anything like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that. No, because that would be rude to say in his presence.
That would be so rude.
Yeah,
so rude.
Yeah, it might hurt a guy named Zach's feelings.
Yeah, and that person named Zach might actually have a lot of friends who own Traegers, but also have a friend who owns an easy bake oven that they rip on for owning an easy bake oven.
Right.
that might
basically a light bulb. Did you see Andre? He's repping the Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yeah. So here's
too.
So here's the reality. Here's what's cool about this podcast is we can bring people that do smoker pellets and charcoal together.
Yeah.
And we can even bring, I haven't brought this up yet, but I just saw the mug on YouTube, Andre. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. You're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And so we're enemies there as well. But in Christ, we are coming together to offer the world hope and maybe a little bit of reconciliation with all of our differences. But our kindred spirit is this, though. I want to know, and you can get into as much as you feel you want. This is so outside the box for some, and that's why I'm intrigued by it, because I think, if Andre's doing this with barbecue, I wonder what other niches or hobbies someone else might have that could turn into a community of faith in some way or respect. So I want to get to that in a minute. But have you gotten any flack for doing this? Because I'd imagine there's a number of people that when you try anything new, they have no idea what you're doing. And this is outside the box, man. And so
that's not what we do at this church.
Yeah. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, it was weird because when I started this process and wanted to go after it, I had a lot of support from like Church Marketing University and people like that. They really stepped in and helped me out a ton. And when I'm trying to, raise money and do all that, I ended up not raising money because people couldn't get on board. They couldn't see it.
Yeah.
They because I said, look, I just want to create a space where people can send people to be able to engage with the Lord for real. I don't care what other church they go to. I don't care if they give to me. Like in the barbecue church, it's not about giving there. It's about giving to the kingdom. And so that's what we want to be about. And they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'd love to, raise money to get a truck and trailer and go to churches and do barbecue events in their community so that they can invite more people to their churches. And they're like, why would you do that for them when you can do it for yourself? And I'm like, because I'm not building my kingdom, you idiot. I'm building the kingdom of God.
Right.
And I had people, I've had some news articles done and I've read the comments and, people are like, oh, this idiot and his barbecue church and like all this stuff. So I catch all that.
Yeah.
The other side is that, you guys have just met me. The other side is that I'm crazy. So I'm 6'3" and I like to fight. I don't care. I don't care what you say about me online. If you meet me in real life, you're not going to say the same things that you said online. And and sometimes we get into that whole church thing where you think because somebody's a pastor that this person won't actually put hands on you. I'm going to be honest. I will punch somebody in the face. I'm not that pastor.
Right.
I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna let you talk crazy to me. No. No, that's not me. In my life, I hang out with one of my jobs. I hang out with a bunch of Marines. Hanging out with Marines has drastically shifted my life a little to where I walk with a tad bit more confidence. I train to fight a lot more, and those guys have my back.
Yeah.
And so they're the ones that they'll see that stuff and they'll say, Andre,
we're here.
Let me know if we need to go see somebody. Send me. Yeah, they're not playing games. But the other side of it, as I just shift, these Marines are meeting Jesus for real.
Yeah.
And one of them, two of his kids went to Air Force Academy about 3 weeks apart. And he texts me freaking out because he didn't have the money to be able to go see them graduate. He's like, I'm not going to be able to pull that off, Andre. And I said, well, we're going to pray. And he's like, I never ask anybody to pray for me. And I'm like, well, first off, I didn't ask you.
I told you.
Right.
Yeah, I told you what we're doing. And he said, well, wait a second. We're allowed to ask God specifically for things? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, that's how this works. So he goes, okay, bet. Let's go. So he starts praying. I start praying. About 3 weeks later, he called me and he said a lot of words that we're not going to say on this podcast. There were a lot of Marine-esque expletives. But he basically said, God freaking did it. He said, God freaking did it. And I'm like, what did God freaking do? And he said, they just upped my disability. I am now getting a lot more money from the VA, and I can go see both of my babies graduate, and it's not going to be taxing. He goes, God did it. We prayed, and God answered my prayer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And so now he goes, he'll text me. And it's funny because with Marines, they text you a lot of like videos of people giving you the middle finger because that's their lifestyle. They're just like, this is what I'm going to text you. And then it goes, then later it's like, I'm so glad that God brought me into your life. I'm so glad that God has shifted. I'm so glad that we're friends. You know, I'm a man of God now because of what God did through you and our relationship. I love you. F you.
Yeah. That hard exterior, but you know it's legit.
Yeah. And those are the texts that I get monthly because God is working on people's lives. And in discipleship and in what we do, our job is to point people to him and to have people follow Jesus. I honestly, I don't talk. I don't speak to people's walk.
I need God to their what?
Walk.
I don't speak to their walk.
Okay.
Like their walk with Christ is their walk with Christ. I'm just here to help direct you and help guide you as you continue to walk on that path.
Yeah.
The Lord is going to speak to you as to what he wants out of your life and what he wants to do through you. I just need to make sure that you stay connected and you're listening to him, you're following him, and you're reading the word. And that's what we're focused on. And we're guiding people to Jesus and helping them stay on that path. You know, and it's been immense. It's been great.
Yeah.
It's real discipleship. Man.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, for as much flack or negativity may come in, mostly probably from people that don't really understand or know or even care to know and take the time to invest like that's the other side of it is like you're in it and you are a part of and hear and see these stories. And so it's like, even if it does catch flack out there, God's moving. And I think that's what I really appreciate about you being willing to do something new like this is it's helping people. It may not be the way they would do it, and that's okay. God designs us all differently, but it's moving and it's helping people, and that's what I'm trying to get people to think about a little bit more. Is in their common everyday lives, are there things like this that it may not be barbecue for them, but that is part of what they can do to help stir up more and more discipleship and more followers of Jesus. And so, yeah, what is there anything, I guess maybe the question would be, is there anything transferable so that it's take out barbecue from it, but that is transferable that you're doing that a more regular, common, everyday person might be able to do? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, what's your passion? What's your passion? Like what is that thing that you love? You know, I love starting up a grill and we can have a bunch of people over the house and we'll just party and eat.
Yeah.
It's my passion. It's what I love. I mean, do you like to sew? Do you want to do a sewing deal? You know, we look at them as life groups. You know what I mean? Like yeah. We'll do like, the video game life group or the sewing life group or this, like all that. Like there's anything that you can do. Let's do the golf life group. Let's do the miniature golf life group. You know, let's get people together that have a passion and do life with them and be honest and real about who we are. You know, like one thing that I've learned is that I'm very open about my relationship with the Lord and what I do.
Yeah.
You ask other people what they do, and they'll say, "Oh, I went out and I was partying and there was this girl and all that." Like, what did you do? I'm like, man, I woke up and I prayed and this is what I saw God do in my life, and it was dope. You know, like it's just real.
Yeah.
It's honest and it's real. Like, let's be honest and real. Let's do the Starbucks church. You know, let's do the coffee church. Let's come together and let's drink exquisite coffees and sip and find out which the best ones are, and then talk about, you know, taste and see that the Lord is good. Like, come on, man. Like, it's
too easy.
It's just easy. Is there a surfing, you know, is there a surfing group that you can do? It's just a way to get into people's lives. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just a way to attract people that are different, and it gets you into a different location. The wakeboarding life group. That's what people in Orlando do. Y'all wakeboard or do weird stuff. Oh, yeah. I'm not hanging off the back of no boat, dog. That's not
going to do that.
Not in Florida, dog. There's alligators.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's true. There are
alligators. I can swim really well.
Smoke an alligator?
You know I can smoke alligator, dog. Why you playing?
I mean, your goal is a hippo, so yeah, I think an alligator wouldn't be nothing for you, but
right. I had my eye on an ostrich, but it's a whole nother.
I went into one of those in Florida. They have this weird store. It's got like all kinds of different animal beef jerkies, and they had like python beef jerky. They had like ostrich beef jerky. They had giraffe beef jerky. They had all this stuff. They had shark beef jerky, like hammerhead shark beef jerky. So my wife, as a joke, got me some hammerhead beef jerky. It was by far the worst thing I've ever consumed in my life. That was awful.
Yeah.
But then she got some normal one like elk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. But no, I don't recommend
So no hammerhead jerky.
I don't recommend the hammerhead jerky at all.
Okay.
I say pass that.
But yeah, they didn't have living in.
They didn't have.
They probably didn't. It's actually illegal. It's actually illegal to kill and eat an African hippo. But I heard that Pablo Escobar had hippos in South America. And then they released them. So I think if we got our hands on South American ones, I think we'll be good.
Okay.
There you go. We're going to solve this. If we solve nothing else, I think we're going to solve the hippo.
Can you eat a hippo?
Can you eat a hippo?
Can you understand that I've been thinking about this for a while?
No, I get that. Yeah, I get that.
So tell me then, what does Barbecue Church look like today? So I heard it opened May 2022-ish. We put up some videos. You'll do videos wherever, preach the gospel. It's got a following. Now you're doing pop-ups in services. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. It's, you know, I try to stay true to a 7 to 11 minute sermon every week that we push out either Saturday or Sunday. Every week with I think it's the exception is Father's Day.
Yeah.
I don't put out anything on Father's Day. That's just a thing. And then, you know, these in-person pop-ups, I'm going to do 2 before the end of the year. And then we're going to look to the future to see what God has for that. The Father's Day thing, just real quick. Right before I did Father's Day last year, I found out that a good friend of mine who was a pastor decided to no longer live. And it hit me so hard. She was in Detroit, and I was right about to preach. And I said, no, I'm not going to do a sermon. I'll just go live later and do something. And so every Father's Day, I take a break.
Yeah.
And I just put out a real quick deal of, you know, this year I did the Father's blessing. It's something that I do whenever I preach. It's something that I wrote. That's just a blessing for people who just need a blessing from a dad. Cause I feel like, receiving a blessing from a father is a big deal. And so every time I preach, that's what I do. And so I did that this year, and it was just a real quick 2-minute deal and then in and out. You know, and then we talk about mental health around Father's Day as well, just because of that. Yeah. Cause you know, we're out here for everyone, and we want to, you know, truly help, you know, enrich everybody's life. So
that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it, dude. And I love the consistency with what you're doing, and I think that there's if people are hearing anything from this, I think what I would love for them to hear is, what are you doing currently in your life that you could be doing with others? We don't have to be as isolated and lonely, which plays into that mental health in a deep way. We don't have to be. We can turn the things that we're doing into opportunities to get to know others, especially when it's around a common interest. That just makes it so much easier to, for that initial hang or that initial meet and greet, which can be awkward and weird to even make relationships and friendships these days. And so if we got something, at least, that would be great. I might be doing a Cleveland Browns group here in Omaha, and I don't think you'd come to that, Andre.
You'll probably get 2 or 3 people.
Yeah. You'll at least have 2 people.
Yeah. Or 2 or more are gathered. The Lord is present.
Or 2 or more gathered. Every Browns fan will still end in disappointment. But yeah. I think I saw a stat the other day from last. It's been 30 consecutive years that the Pittsburgh Steelers have had a better record than the Cleveland Browns. 30 straight times.
I heard Johnny Manziel's coming back this year, so you might have.
I watched the documentary. No thanks. Don't want to have him back.
I heard he might be coming back.
I think there's something so great to what you're doing, and even in Scripture, right? You look at how important food and a meal is. And I think we miss out sometimes, just even because I don't know what your common interest is, everybody listener, but I know you're eating. I know everybody eats multiple times a day, probably even. And so what could even these opportunities, sharing meals with someone look like? All right. Hey, Andre, I asked this question kind of to close up to every guest. This is a podcast to ultimately challenge each person to be a greater disciple of Jesus. And so if you could practically challenge each listener to be a greater disciple of Jesus this week, what's one thing you would have them do?
Man, listen. It seems so chill. But like, how about we just really pray and really listen to God?
Yeah.
Like for real, not just say that we do. How about we actually do it? Like actually pray and actually listen to God for real and do what he's telling us to do and ask the Lord, hey, what is it that you want me to do? Like my wife and I have been praying about some business stuff that we're looking at. And we felt like the Lord said, did you ask me though?
Yeah.
Did you ask me though? And she was like, you know what? You're right. So we asked him. So let's ask God, what does he want from us? What does he want from our families? What does he want from our children? What does he want? Like, where does he want us to go? Like, what church does he really want us at? Like, not just, oh, I like the worship here, or, oh, I like this, or what church does he want you at? Can I be honest?
Please.
Yeah. I go to a church right now that I would not go to. I'll be honest, because I run a church, but I go to church on Sunday. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I can go to church, because I believe in that. I go to this small AG church. The lead pastor is cool. There's about 70 people in the room. They're all old. Like it's just, but the pastor and his wife are great people. And the pastor's wife became my wife's best friend.
Yeah.
And when we moved here, I took her away from her family. I moved her to my home city. Now she has a best friend. That's a lead pastor.
Yeah.
Okay. I go there and we do life there and we do life with them and we hang out there. It is not the church I would normally go to.
Sure.
It's just not, but that's where God has us.
Yeah.
And we prayed. We visited a bunch of different churches around Pittsburgh. If you know this area, there's a lot of them. And I went to school with a lot of their pastors. Like they're all homies.
Yeah.
Like we're friends.
Yeah.
We break bread together. No, I go to this little church because God said, this is where I want you. This is where I want you to serve. So if you're a disciple of Christ, be a disciple. Listen to Jesus and do what he tells you to do.
It's beautiful. I think that's the common thread I see and hear in your story is this reliance on God in prayer and listening, and then an obedience that comes with that, which is super cool. So whether that means every couple of years you're flipping states to go do whatever God has, or whether that means you're going to open up barbecue church and do something nobody else has done, or whether that means just going to a church that you probably wouldn't go to. It's like, no, God, I'm in relationship with God. I'm obedient. And so Red Letter Disciple listeners, if you take that challenge on, you really pray, really listen, and are obedient to God, let us know. Hashtag Red Letter Disciple. We want to pray for you, cheer you on, encourage you in that pursuit. Andre, this has been super cool. If I'm going to turn it over to Chris in just a moment, but if people want to connect with you or with what you're doing at Barbecue Church, where's the best place to see you?
Ooh.
I might guess. I would guess maybe a website called barbecuechurch.com.
Spelled out,
Yep.
of course.
Spelled out. BARBECUE. Church.com. That's where I'm at. And on Facebook, I'm Andre Steven Anderson, Steven with a V.
Cool.
And
Awesome.
All right, Chris, what you got for him?
Andre Steven Anderson, you come before us today as founder of barbecuechurch.com, master of the baby back rib, disciple who doesn't go after the low-hanging fruit that so many of us go after. No, you go to the Marines, the tough people to get a hold of. You give them real talk, and you make disciples. For that, I give you my respect.
Wow.
Now, sir, we are going to test your barbecue IQ in a game custom made for you
Wow.
called the Andre Anderson Barbecue IQ game. All right, here we go.
What a clever name.
Andre, where did the term barbecue originate? Hold, I'll give you some multiple choices. Did the term barbecue originate from Caribbean cooks using a wooden platform, Hawaiian luau's complete with roast pig, or Southern plantations?
ooh, let's just say Southern plantations.
Okay, that was what I was going to say too, and that's okay. But it was actually Caribbean cooks using a wooden platform. The origin of the word.
He is his own research department, by the way. I don't.
Let me explain. The origin of the word barbecue, which I did not know, is not definitively known, but the best guess is that Spaniards, upon arriving in the Caribbean in the 15th century, used the word barbacoa to describe the cooking method they observed. He's not buying it one bit.
Well, hang on. You give a question, where did the term originate? And then your first sentence answer is it's not definitively known, but the best guess.
See, lying.
Yeah,
All right.
That doesn't even count.
All right,
That's
here. You stayed
0 for 0.
You've moved more times than Abraham, but how long were you in Florida?
Total.
Yeah.
5 years.
Okay. So you have experienced Southern barbecue. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What side dish, question 2, what side dish was the earliest staple in Southern barbecue? Was it potato salad, cornbread, or mac and cheese?
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah.
It should be mac and cheese.
Well, what is it?
Cornbread.
That's right. That is correct. Although you're likely to find all of these sides in a modern cookout, cornbread was the earliest pairing with Southern barbecue because corn grew better than wheat and was readily available. All right, let me ask you, you're a real manly man. You kind of look like a tougher Kanye West. So here we go. I mean, you really do. According to standard etiquette, what should a guest never do at a barbecue? What should a guest never do? Number one,
touch a black man's barbecue.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. You didn't even need the options. You never touch a man, either African-American or white. You don't touch their grill unless a fire is about to go down. And then even then it's questionable. And then
it's like you have to raise the alarm first.
Yeah. Yep.
And then be told to take care of it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
That is good. Okay. You familiar with Alabama barbecue?
I used to live in Birmingham.
Okay, so
that'll be easy.
What characterizes Alabama barbecue? Is it a mustard-based sauce, a molasses-based sauce, or a white sauce?
Alabama white.
That's it.
Yeah, this guy knows his barbecue.
This is the final question I have, and this is kind of multiple choice. This really is just bonus. This is just extra credit at this point. How many Americans own a grill or a smoker? Is it? So grill or smoker, 24%, 54%, 64%, or 84%? 24, 54, 64, 84. How many Americans own either a grill or a smoker?
Let's go 64.
That's right. That's right. Andre wins the game. Andre wins the game. You will get, we're going to send you his Traeger. That's what your prize is, buddy. We're sending his.
You know what?
I'm
good.
Keep it. All right, good. That's the first gift we've given away, and glad to know we don't actually have to.
Oh my
so
goodness!
I'm glad I get to keep my Traeger. At the end of that.
I guess I forgot to go over that with you. If you got 3 out of 5, you get your Traeger.
Oh wow! Hey Andre, man, this was so fun. Thanks for being on the Red Letter Disciple, and we're cheering and rooting you on, and just grateful for you and your obedience to the Lord. And
all joking aside,
it's cool, man.
It is so cool what you're doing, man. God bless you.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So thanks for being on the show with us today, bro.
No doubt.
Cool.
So I told you that episode is going to be crazy, and I will share different opinions than Andre on my beloved Traeger, but that's okay. Hey, if you want to connect with Andre Anderson or grab the highlights from today's show, check out our show notes at redletterpodcast.com. Also, I mentioned if you are listening close to or in real time, our best deals of the year at Red Letter Living are coming next Monday, so don't miss it. You can find out about those and everything else again at redletterpodcast.com. Just click on the episode with Andre Anderson and you'll see everything that I'm talking about there. Next week, we are having a first. A first is happening on the show. The mic is getting flipped, but this time on the one and only, my co-host, Chris Johnson. I figured, you know what? After 56 episodes in, next week is 57, y'all need to hear from Chris. Obviously, Chris is a great friend, super partner in the podcast with me, but he's more than just the funny, goofy, off-the-wall guy. I mean, he is those things too, but Chris has a real story of growing up without faith and struggling with depression and suicide to now being a pastor, a church planter, and a great man of God. What changed? And how did God use ordinary people in ordinary ways to help Chris become an extraordinary disciple of Jesus? And of course, it's Chris, so we're still going to have lots of fun. And you'll learn how he pranks nearly every employee or pastor at the churches that he's been in the last 20 years. So if you're into pranks, well, I'm just saying next week you might get a couple of new or old, fresh ideas that we can recycle again. Just saying. So, hey, don't miss next week's episode. I'm really, really pumped for you to hear Chris in this new light. And so the way to not miss it is to subscribe or follow we're on all the regular platforms, but certainly Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We've got video on my personal fave, YouTube. And again, if you could take a moment and give us a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify, that'd be a great blessing. A review would be even better. And the question I'd love for you to answer is, which episode of Red Letter Disciple has been your favorite and why? All right, that's it, y'all. We'll see you next week for the next episode of the Red Letter Disciple.